Hi, Maahi. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really just wanted to give some advice to some future high school students or people who are just finishing out their high school career. I know you just graduated, so congrats. I'm really excited for you. And I just wanted to know, like, how did the last parts of high school go for you?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Um, I think the last part of high school was definitely a very reflective process. But I think in the end, it was a really fun 4 years. I mean, like looking back, there were definitely ups and downs throughout high school,
Hmm.
and like definitely like stress-inducing moments. But I think in the end, like looking back, all of the bad stuff just kind of looks really small in comparison to
Hmm.
the overall of the fun of the 4 years.
Looking back on high school, you don't remember like the really hard times. Like obviously there's a bunch of like stressful classes and tests and like that, but you really get to know yourself and get to know the people around you. So I would agree. And I think like it ended up being not like the picture book version that I thought it would happen. Like obviously there were definitely like things that came out of the blue and like I wouldn't have thought of, or like maybe that one person ended up like changing their mind on one thing and then like now I don't see eye to eye with them. And I feel like that's like completely normal.
Yeah, no, 100% I agree. There's definitely like those people that you just, I mean, I think you feel like while you're in high school, you feel like it's such a bubble. It's like your whole life is right there in high school. And when you're done, it's kind of like, okay, so maybe, like you said, I didn't see eye to eye with a certain person,
Hmm.
which there were a lot of people I didn't see eye to eye with, over four
Hmm.
years. But like in the end, you're kind of like, well, my world is so much bigger than like the 300 people that I see every single day
Hmm.
at, like in high school in class. And out of the like in the grand scheme of things, the person you don't see eye to eye with, well, that was one person, and that was one bad experience that you might have had
Hmm.
that's like kind of not relevant in your big life. Maybe it was because you had to see them every day, but you really like in
Hmm.
life, you really don't have, you can choose whether or not you want to have that person in your life
Hmm.
moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's a good mindset to have. Like, I know we were always taught to like have a growth mindset, and I feel like I didn't really understand what that meant until like the end of high school, where like you said, it's not as big as like I think it is, you know? Like there's still so much life left to live. What do you think is like the most valuable thing that you could recommend others to focus on in high school?
I think as someone who's just graduated, my perspective might be different than someone like you who's had a little more time to reflect. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess like being on the other end of the high school, like college admissions process, I think I would say know what your goals are
Mm-hmm.
and do what you need to do to get to them. And don't worry about all the other noise. Like if your end goal is, for example, you want to be like insert career, like you want to be a
Mm-hmm.
teacher, then do what you need to do to be a teacher. If you want to be a doctor, like do things that make you happy, do things that lead you to your passion, and don't worry
Mm-hmm.
about what the person next to you is doing. I think that's definitely a really important thing to hold on to because if you're gonna focus on something that somebody else cares about rather than something you care about, you're A, not going to be very good at it. B, it's not going to help you achieve your
Mm-hmm.
goals.
For sure.
So like in the end, it's just a waste of time, especially
Yeah.
if you're at like a loud, hustling, bustling high school that we went to, where there's a ton of stuff going on. I think you have to really streamline. I think that's the biggest piece of advice I'd say. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have to just do what makes you happy and what is aligned for you. Because like in the end, even if your goal is even if your goal is to get somewhere that's hard to get, like for example, you want to be a doctor, like being a doctor, like getting to that point is not necessarily an easy
Mm-hmm.
career path. But even if it's something that's hard to do, you will be able to do it if you focus on that thing and like doing things that lead you in that direction. Because if you get distracted, then you're never going to get there.
You were talking about like becoming a doctor or like having a specific goal. Like a lot of people go into college and they're like, oh, like I'm gonna be pre-med, right? And I'm gonna do all this stuff. But it's really hard to like be the one to be disciplined enough to like ignore everyone else and like focus on what they need to do and be the one that like finishes out the career. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. And like that's definitely something I took away from high school. And now just being, first year in college, like it's been really hard to kind of balance like my social life and like what I actually need to do like academically because now that I have so much time, like I always kind of say yes to a lot of things when my friend is like, want to hang out and like do this? I'm like, yes, yes. But then I realize like doing all these things, like sometimes it distracts me from like what I need to do, or like if it overlaps with like something academic that I need to do, I need to be the one to know like what to prioritize and know like this is what I need to do before I can like, do something with my friends. But obviously it's like a balance and it takes a lot of time to learn what's good for you.
High school definitely gave me a chance to explore all parts of myself and
Mm.
kind of decide what it was that I wanted to take with me for my real life because this is like high school was like my trial life. Like you
Yeah.
can kind of work things out, see what's actually working for you, and if it doesn't work out, like this is a safe space.
Hmm.
And then like in real life, like you kind of know like what are your strong points, what are your weak points. High school gives
Hmm.
you a chance to work on them. I think my biggest takeaway personally would probably be that you don't need to push yourself to be something that you're not. Like figure out what you are and push yourself in that direction.
Hmm.
And a lot of people will like, for example, they will compare the classes you're taking. Like, are you taking
Hmm.
how many AP classes are you taking? And if the person next to you is taking five AP classes, that doesn't mean that in order to be successful, you need to take five AP classes because
Right.
sometimes success means like maintaining A's and not having
Hmm.
C's in the AP classes that that are like overboarding you. I mean, I remember sometimes so like for one of my friends, there was a national competition that was overlapping with her AP exams. And her coach was like, you need to focus on this competition that's coming up. But she knew she needed to focus on her AP exam. So she needed to do what was important to her and
Hmm.
not necessarily worry about all the other noise. Because
Hmm.
like in the end, I mean, just as a note about grades, etc., those things are kind of like fundamental to everybody. And those are like your basic, like that's where your real learning is coming from. All the other things are kind of cherries on top that add the flavor to
Hmm.
who you are. So yeah, don't get bogged down with all the noise.
And I wanted to ask this kind of cringy question, but like, a reflective question on if you were to give like advice to yourself when you're just starting high school, like what would you have said to her?
First of all, I don't think it's a cringy question. I think everyone should ask themselves this when they graduate.
Hmm.
I think the advice I'd give myself, actually, advice that I probably was already giving myself throughout the 4 years, which is probably something that helped me all 4 years of high school, was that you're here to learn about things that you're interested in. So
Hmm.
don't forget, like, don't lose that love for learning. And that's probably more cringy than the question itself. But
Hmm.
um, don't like don't let go of the reason why you chose to take like AP biology in the first place. It was because you like biology, not
Hmm.
because of your like GPA or whatever.
Right.
And that's why some people like that's why there are people who take class. Okay, so like me personally, I'd never take like AP art history. That just can't happen for me. Um,
Yeah.
but some people take it and it's because they enjoy that kind of content. So if you like really, I think I would give myself the advice as a freshman, take the classes that are interesting to you, take the classes that fulfill your like intellectual need, like what
Hmm.
you want to what you are curious about, like do things that fulfill your curiosity because then you're learning for like yourself and
Hmm.
stuff that's actually going to help you grow, like move forward rather than like some extrinsic motivator.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I think there was a lot of like comparison, especially for APs, like in school, where it's like, oh, like you said, the amount kind of like matters. Like, oh, I'm taking this many, even though like I'm not even a math major, but I'm gonna take this really hard math AP or something like that, just to like kind of flex on other people that I'm taking more. And like I think that that's kind of a sad message that some people are sending is that they feel like the more that they do, like the better they are. But I think furthering actually for what you want to do, like you said, is definitely more important in the long run, especially because like once you go to college, like you're going to be focusing on one thing. It's not going to matter that, oh, I took like some AP 2D art class because I wanted to have like more APs or something. But obviously, if you're still interested in that, like it's good to, have a balance of things that you're interested in, but just certain things, yeah, you don't really need to be the one to have more. Or like I know it's really a trend that people are starting their own little like I don't know nonprofit thing just to like do it for college apps. And like you can tell like they're not truly like super passionate about what they're doing, but just like wants to make it look like that they're doing that. And I think like obviously if you have the passion, like go for it. But the comparison just of like who's better is kind of unhealthy. And I would agree like it would probably be more ideal for people to focus on things that they really like. So speaking of like discipline and like things that you are passionate about, what do you think helped you to maintain this like motivation? Like you said, like focusing on yourself. That's a great thing that people should do. And I was wondering if you had like any strategies that you like built up or anything that you like tell yourself to motivate yourself.
You mentioned like the nonprofit thing, and people like doing things just to compare with each other. Um, and like that's one of the things that people get shut off by, like because they're doing it to compare with each other, and therefore their motivation kind of runs out because they were never doing it for themselves in the first place.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I've definitely been in positions where I started doing something because I liked it, and then it became more and more about like I kept feeling like something like it just wasn't sitting right with me because of something somebody else did or somebody else said. I mean, or like a great example, a lot of high schools put a lot of emphasis on speech and debate. So
Hmm.
I mean, speech and debate is definitely like an individualized competition thing, and a lot of people associate it with like winning medals.
Right.
And if you're there just because of the medal, then you at some point will get discouraged. Like you at some point won't be motivated to do it any longer.
Hmm.
Versus like you could be the person who shows up to every competition and gets last place and sticks through it for 4 years of high school because you enjoy doing it.
Hmm.
And I I like to tell people like if you're in front of somebody and they're giving you if they're giving you their attention, you should feel honored. Like you should feel empowered by that. And if you're on that stage and you don't feel that way, then you're not meant for that stage. Like
Hmm.
if you feel like if you feel like this is the worst possible thing you could ever be doing, like I'm not talking about like getting out of your comfort zone or anything like that, but if
Mhm.
you're there and you're like, yeah, I can stand here, give a speech, but this doesn't make me feel fulfilled, like I don't feel good doing this, then that's not the place for you. So
Right.
you have to like, I guess like listen to exact like your heart.
Hmm.
And I mean like long-term goal thinking, like if you want to be a doctor, you will feel fulfilled doing things that doctors do. And
Hmm.
if you don't, like that's how you decide what career you want to pursue. That's how you decide your goals in the first place. And that's like, I mean, honestly, explore your avenues. Like figure out what actually makes you happy, and then you can like use your like the last 3 years of high school to actually build on those things and
Hmm.
carry it all the way like to your actual goal.
I think I'm still learning that as like a college freshman. Like obviously, kind of like you said, like in high school, it's like you kind of had a backup. Like it was like you were learning, but then also there's like people there to like support you and help you. And I think that's really important, like you said, to find something that you will be able to do by yourself. Because something I noticed, like going into college, is that you have so much time, and it's hard to know like. On one hand, you have a lot of time, so you can do whatever you want, right? But then on the other hand, it's like you only have so much time, so you need to like figure out how to like balance it and what you need to do and focus on doing that only. And it sometimes gets really hard. And then this last question is just for a little bit of fun. So, what was your favorite AP that you took? And then what was your least favorite and why? You can also share some like stories or something if that permits that.
Okay. Hmm. Okay, favorite AP was probably AP biology,
Mm.
but that was I think I really liked it. Okay, this is really weird. I really liked AP biology because I loved pipetting. Like I like
Ooh. Okay, I
the
feel that.
micro yeah, the micropipettes are my favorite part. I like in all the labs.
Hmm.
Um that and also the awesome teacher that we had.
Yes.
Um Also it just kind of made sense to me. A lot of people like I mean biology is very hit or miss. Like a lot of people think it's really hard, a lot of people think it's really easy. But for
Hmm.
me it was just like it kind of made sense like it was kind of not formulaic like math is, but like it was logical.
Mm,
Um
for sure.
Least favorite AP, probably AP World History.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah,
feel that.
yeah, because none of it made sense to me.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And like I think it obviously added on that it was like the first AP that I ever took, and I don't think I knew what I was getting myself into. And so it was definitely like a wake up call, like, oh, you gotta lock in. But I definitely think I would also say AP World was probably one of my least favorite ones. But I think I it's good that I took that class anyways because it kind of like taught me how to start studying for like the other ones. Although I still didn't really have that much interest in the material, so that was what definitely made it hard, and it was a lot of reading. But I think it was definitely still helpful to have. And then I agree, biology is very interesting. Just like how the human body works is really cool. And I just wanted to share maybe what my favorite AP was. Actually, I haven't thought about this that much, but I think I liked AP language arts. Is that what
Mhm.
it's called?
Yeah, AP
Yeah.
English Language and Composition. Yeah.
Yes, AP English language. I really liked that one. I think we got like a solid understanding of how to write essays, and I've always like really liked just writing in my free time. And so now in college, like although I'm a psychology major, I'm also minoring in medical humanities. So it's kind of like writing, but it's like from the patient's perspective or like different perspectives in the medical field, and you kind of write about it. And I think like taking the AP English language class really made me continue my interest just in writing. And obviously the class and the teacher was very very fun. And I really got to know the people in my class as well as my teacher a lot. So that definitely holds a special place in my heart. Well, yeah, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. Your answers were very helpful, and I'm glad that you ended up having a great high school career.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.